NFL draft nerds, welcome in Monday, January 13th. We're talking about the offensive line class, specifically the interior of the offensive line class in 2025 here on the show today. Kind of talked about the offensive tackle class on Friday off the cuff, happy hour style, but today is a Monday and I have a cold, so we will not be partaking in any of the good stuff. But we're still going to talk about the interior offensive line, talk about centers, talk about guards, talking about tackles that maybe should play guard or center. We'll get into all that good stuff. Fired up about this one. I love offensive line play. I love scouting offensive line. They're doing something every single play. They're making contact with someone almost every single play. They've got a job to do. So I really enjoy it. We'll start at center, work our way to guard, talk about some people who maybe have positional versatility, and that's how it's going to go today. So really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this interior offensive line class in the comment section below. And talking about center, Parker Brailsford, he might have been center one, but he decided to go back to Alabama. Really good athlete, good length. Needs to develop a little bit more mass, cultivate some mass, if you will, on his frame. But a really impressive young kid going back to Bama. He'll be probably next year, up there with the top centers. But I think there are a number of guys that are currently playing tackle that can play center at a high level, potentially in the NFL with some development. Number one is Will Campbell. I think he can play guard or center at a high level. 6'5", 320 pounds. Doesn't have great length, but on the interior that's mitigated, and I think his length would probably be more like average on the interior than below average. But he is just so physical, flexible in his anchor, powerful at the point of attack, extremely strong. I just think that, and he's an athlete, right? He can work laterally in the run game. He can get upfield, make contact on linebackers, secondary players. I think Will Campbell, you plug him in inside, left guard, center, right guard, whatever it may be, you're going to have a quick potential Pro Bowl level player plus starter on the interior very quickly. I think moving him inside mitigates his issues with dealing with speed rushers with length on an island. Some of that has to do with his own length. Some of that has to do with these guys that are, 250, 260, sometimes less, that have incredible athleticism. He has a difficult time getting hands on them and redirecting and mirroring their movements. I think that gets mitigated big time on the interior with Will Campbell. So if we had tape of him on the interior, probably a blue chip prospect for me, but just outside because I haven't actually seen it. But still a top 10 prospect for me on the interior. Marcus Mbow. 6'5", 300 pounds, plays tackle, has also played guard at Purdue. A guy that, unbelievable athlete. Like maybe my favorite overall athlete in this class on the offensive line, regardless of position. I think he probably projects best at center. 300 pounds is really light to be playing tackle. Maybe he can add some strength to his frame, but incredible mover both in pass protection and especially in the run game. He could probably play guard in a outside, wide zone blocking scheme. But if you're talking about power, probably not. I think that he needs to continue to develop his consistency when just knowing if he should be aggressive or play it straight, right? Sometimes he tries to go to the snatch trap when he's on the move and he misses. Sometimes he tries to get too aggressive with his punch and gets out of position and misses, right? But I think if you get him with a good offensive line coach, he's going to be able to thrive probably at any position. Again, at guard, probably needs to be in his own blocking scheme. But I'm a big fan of Marcus Mbow. And where I take Will Campbell as an interior player, center, guard, in the top 10 of this upcoming NFL draft, Marcus Mbow probably more like late first, early second range for me as an interior player. Gray Zabel is another one who plays tackle at North Dakota State. He's 6'6", 305 pounds. I have a little bit of a cold, so I need to get some water. I think he can play center. I think he can play all across the offensive line. I like Gray's able a lot. He's got good functional athleticism, a good length overall. I think that he has enough flexibility to anchor down against some of those big boys. I project him best at center to the next level. That's three guys been playing tackle that I think move inside. Embo and Zabel, definitely I'd love to see them at center. Campbell, center or guard, I don't really care. Either way, I'd be fired up about it. And Zabel, probably mid to late second round, third round. Be getting a really good value if you're able to get him later on day 2, I think. William and Mary, offensive tackle, left tackle, Charles Grant. A lot of folks have him kind of shifting inside potentially. He's a hell of an athlete. He's also 6'4", 300 pounds like Marcus Mbo. I think that he's not quite as fluid of an athlete as Mbo, but he is very, very explosive. He has good length. I think that you just gotta. Obviously, he's making a major jump from where he's playing at William and Mary to go into the NFL. Probably needs to have a redshirt year. But if you can develop him and his athleticism, he could probably play tackle, play guard in a zone blocking scheme, and then play center in any scheme. But needs to develop some, certainly coming from that smaller school, smaller program. But I could definitely see Charles Grant developing into a high quality starter, either at tackle or center. Excuse me. Guard would be scheme specific. Now, guys that are actually playing the center position, right? I think Jared Wilson at 6'3", 310 is a really good athlete out of Georgia. I mean, Georgia's entire offensive line is going to end up in the NFL, it looks like. Maybe no first round type of picks from Georgia there on that offensive line, but a lot of guys that I think can start in the NFL. Really good athlete at 6'3", 310 pounds with solid strength. He just hasn't started a lot of football games, but I think with a little development, decent coaching, Jared Wilson projects as probably a year 1 backup and an eventual starter. But if you get him on that fast track, get him in your starting lineup immediately from the jump as soon as he gets in there as a rookie, I think there is a chance he could start for you and do a good job in year 1. And you see in Georgia's blocking scheme, he actually has to, execute a lot of one-on-one assignments. Another center out of Ohio State, big school, Seth McLaughlin, well-rounded, good athlete at the center position. The only real issue I have with him, he does pop up straight at times, right out of his stance, pop straight up, so that exposes the chest, the pad level, all that. Other than that, I think a really solid player who can be like a middle-of-the-road to above-average starter at center. So when you're talking about Jared Wilson, you're talking about Seth McLaughlin, probably third round or later for these guys. But if you're taking a center in the third round and you have a chance to get a quality starter, I think Jared Wilson has the potential to be more than a quality starter. You can feel good about that. Weston Franklin, I have a 3 on him as well out of Georgia Tech. I think he will be a starter, a good starter in the NFL. Super solid. Jake Majors is another solid guy out of Texas. I don't think he has any elite traits, Jake Majors, but I do look at him as someone that also doesn't really have a lot of true deficiencies. Like he's a decent athlete. He's very technically sound, plays balanced. So I think Majors probably ends up being a starter as well. So if you're talking about getting a class where at center you have 4 or 5 starters, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good center class. And again, outside of Majors, Franklin, Wilson, a couple other guys that are actually playing center right now, it's mostly guys that could move to center and do a really good job, which does take some projection. There's no doubt about it. Even if you see the traits, you haven't seen them actually do it. At guard, I really like Will Campbell, Marcus Mbo, Gray Zabel as well that we've talked about. But looking at some other guys that we haven't checked in on yet, Tyler Booker, my goodness. Maybe my favorite player in the draft, Tyler Booker. And that doesn't mean my highest rated player, because he's not. But maybe my favorite player, because his demeanor on and off the field is special. He's a leader. He's an incredible specimen with his length and physicality on the interior. At the point of attack, both in the pass game and run game, Tyler Booker is so stout. And he's a mauler in the run game. I just love his game so much. And the way he talks about the game, the way you can tell that he puts the work in, dropped a lot of weight going into 2024 to get that frame on point. He's going to be a stud. And, maybe if you're running a wide zone rushing attack, he might not be the best fit. But if you have a balanced run game or you want to run power or you just need somebody that's going to protect your quarterback, Tyler Booker's the guy to do it. You want him on your football team. Jonas Avenea plays right tackle, has played some guard at Arizona. This guy, they just don't make, not a lot of humans, even at the NFL level, that are, 6'5", 6'6", 330 pounds that can move the way he does. And maybe he could play right tackle. I think he has Pro Bowl potential at guard. And so, talking about Savanea, Booker, again, in the right scheme, certainly should be a first-round pick, probably a top 20 pick because he's going to hit. Jonas Savanea, another guy, probably should be top 32, late first round. I know a lot of folks talk about Armand Mimbu at guard. I actually think he should play at tackle. I think he could probably play center better than he could play guard. But I'm a big fan of Armand Mimbu too. Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State, big-time name, big-time recruit. I've really come around on him. I can see him mid to late round 2 if you want to guard. Solid combo of athleticism and strength. I think technically there's still a couple things he can clean up with his footwork, but overall, his hip mobility and flexibility does really impress me when he's getting out on the move, and I think he anchors well against the pass. Pass rushers trying to get into his chest. What he's had to do going out and playing tackle for them was really impressive. So, yeah, I have Donovan Jackson as a second rounder as well. Wyatt Milam, who plays tackle at West Virginia, has been unbelievably efficient in pass protection. Just a really rock-solid player for them. I think he might be able to play tackle and be a decent starter, but I think he could definitely be a good quality guard just with his combination of athleticism, technique, physicality. He wants to bury you into the dirt. I have him as a second rounder as well. Emory Jones Jr. is fascinating. Guy that's played right tackle at LSU, has not really developed the way you'd like, but maybe you kick him inside and some of those issues kind of get mitigated and he just becomes a mauler because he is physical and he wants all the smoke, right? So another fascinating prospect there. Anthony Belton's been playing left tackle at NC State. I could definitely see him kicking inside. I think he's explosive with length, with strength. I think that his lateral agility gets him in trouble at times. So kick him inside, that probably gets mitigated. Talking about some more of those Georgia offensive linemen, I do think Ernest Green's probably going back to school, it looks like. But Tate Ratledge and Dylan Fairchild, they're two guards. Ratledge at 6'5", 320, he is super solid in every aspect of the game. And he has the best guard aesthetic you could ask for. He has the mullet. He has a full sleeve. He just looks like he was built to play guard in the NFL. And I think he's going to be solid. I don't know he'll ever be like elite because he doesn't have elite athleticism or overwhelming strength. But he has every trait you could ask for, and he's super technically sound, plays with good pad level. I like Tate Ratledge a lot. Sorry, y'all. Dylan Fairchild, 6'5", 315 pounds. He's more of that just absolute stout ox at guard. Good anchor, can play with independent hands. He is really, really strong at the point of attack. Not quite as nimble, not quite as athletic as even Tate Ratledge, but I think somebody who in a gap power scheme, Dylan Fairchild can start for you for a long time. And there's a lot of guys left to go, but those are the ones I wanted to get in and talk about today. I think overall it's a good interior offensive line class. It might lack, well, if you lack creativity with how you think about these offensive linemen, maybe it's lacking for you. But if you include Will Campbell, Marcus Mbow, Gray Zabel, guys that are playing tackle at interior offensive line, this class looks really, really, really good. So I'm excited about it. I think there's a lot of guys that are going to be playing a lot of football for a long time, including in 2025 from this class in the NFL. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content here, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.